Welcome to the WealthWise Show, where financial success meets informed decisions. I'm your host, the Wise Investor, and I'm here to guide you through the fascinating world of finance and help you to make wise choices. Join us as we unravel the secrets of smart investing, effective money management strategies, and the different realms of financial education. Remember, the information provided on this podcast is for informational purposes only and educational purposes only. Always consult a financial professional before making any major financial decisions. Now let's start the show. All right, guys. Welcome to another exciting episode of the WealthWise Show. I don't know what episode it is, maybe 28. I don't know. Today's episode is basically, first get some housekeeping. First of all, information that you hear from this podcast is for informational purposes only. I'm not giving advice. I don't give advice on the internet unless you're a client and I'm talking to you through email. But other than that, I'm not giving advice. If you hear a company, if I mention a company, I'm not endorsing them, nor am I suggesting that you invest in them. It's for examples only, and so do your due diligence. Understand this podcast, this information is not meant for you to use as personal tailored advice, because it's not. So with that, I'm going to get in this show. All right, guys. Today's episode is kind of going to be following a theme of last week's episode about teaching kids about money and how to take their financial literacy serious into the next steps, essentially. And this one's a little more different because I know not everyone feels good about this topic. Some people feel like cash is king and blah, blah, blah. But I'm really talking about teaching kids about the use of credit. And I know some parents might be like, oh, all right, turn him off. My kids are not going to be using credit because I don't believe in credit. Well, kind of doing a disservice to your kids by not helping them to at least understand credit, because they can make the choice of to use it or not, but at least help them to understand what it is and let them decide, so that way if in the future, if they're in their 40s, 50s, and they don't know nothing about credit but they need it, even before then, to get in a car, getting a house, getting renting a apartment, all that stuff requires credit. Even certain insurances, all that stuff looks at your FICO score. So even though if you don't believe in it, it still doesn't mean you can't teach your kids about it, because it's all a part of their financial education. So teaching your kids about, in this particular, credit cards. And the reason why that's important, because if something were to happen to you and they get in a situation where they, starting out in college and they get credit card offers in the mail and they just start signing up with a crap ton of credit cards, you can see how they can easily get into something serious that they can, probably can't get themselves out of without help later on. So understand how you can help them, and this is what I'm trying to do. Help them. Like I said last week, I don't have any kids, so this is me coming from a financial advisor perspective, and take it like that. So understanding, one, you got to help them understand, or at least introduce them to building credit. Now, there's tons of things you can do if you yourself are not good at credit. Well, first, you should learn how to get good at credit, because it makes no sense to try to teach something that you yourself are not good at or know nothing about. And the reason I say that, because part of helping your kids with credit, and in particular credit cards, is helping them build credit history. And one of the easiest ways you can help them build credit history is if you yourself is good with credit and have good credit history. That way you can, introduce your child as an authorized user on one of your credit cards. if you yourself are responsible with your credit. I'm stressing that because it makes no sense to put them on as the authorized user and, you're just going to get them in debt. So if you are good with credit and you are able to put them on as a authorized user, why not? It helps starts building their credit up at an early age and give them the head start. And if you listen to last week's episode, if you teach them how to, make money and manage it and, be able to be responsible with it and combine that with good credit history, I mean, that's a pretty good leg up without even having to shove out, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a trust fund. So this is really can be fit for any parent. No, doesn't matter the circumstance, because you could be great, using a credit card with low funds, because all a credit card is basically you're borrowing the money. So if you know how to, I'm not going to get into how to, use credit because that's going to be another topic. This is for teaching your kids about credit cards, but you get the point what I'm trying to say. And one of the things you want to do, by helping them be responsible for their credit cards is, show them, the benefits of using credit cards responsibly. Now this might mean they might have to be a little bit older. You might put them on as an authorized user when they actually can't use the card right away. But as they get older, there are credit cards that will allow you to have an authorized user and put a limit on how much they can spend. And if your child has a part-time job, hey, this is your balance, every month, and you got to pay this. So it kind of helps them show the benefits of using a credit card by actually using it themselves. And you can, maybe even sharing some of the benefits, like if they, because credit cards love giving you perks. Me personally, I like the American Express Platinum. That was one of my favorite cards of last year. And, they gave a lot of benefits. Now that might be that's a charge card, not a credit card, but that authorization, it might be a lot for some people. So at least show them the, hey, you can get points, if you do this, and show them, hey, the points you accumulate from your purchases, you can reimburse yourself by cash back, or you can use it for that trip you want to go on with your friends, and etc. So basically show them the benefits of the good side, I guess, of using credit cards, especially if you are good at using credit cards yourself. But also don't hide the bad sides of not, using credit cards responsibly. So show them the good side, but also show them the bad side by one, don't show them by the bad side of not paying your bills. That doesn't make any sense. But kind of talk to them and help them to understand their credit score. Go ahead and sign up for the different credit bureaus to get the reports and show them, hey, this is your FICO score. And this is the score that when you go to the bank for pretty much any kind of debt or loans or something that you're taking on, you're going to need this score to be at this certain level. So, typically a lot of times, I think even with the Experian app, they have a graph that shows you your credit score, and it shows you is great or excellent to good to okay to bad, and show them how not being responsible with first your credit cards, because that's the first thing they're going to get before the big loans come into play. You're going to knock down your credit score. So showing them the good side with, hey, you can use credit cards for one. It'll allow you to do things that you normally, will have to really think about doing. And when I say that, I don't mean using credit cards in a way of using it as a loan, but it allows you to buy a house eventually, get that car that you want with a good interest rate. So those are some of the lessons you can teach them when utilizing the credit card. And then with that, you're going to be installing healthy habits by teaching them, hey, your needs versus your wants. Do you need this $300 pair of whatever, or do you want this $300 pair of whatever? And if you don't have the actual dollars now in your bank, let's say you don't have $300 to buy this, then all you're doing is putting yourself in debt in hopes of getting the money later on. And that's not a healthy habit. Are you impulse buying, or are you planning your purchases out? So establishing these spending rules with their authorized card, and, showing them the benefits as well as the downsides of using credit cards can really help to have them develop into a mature, responsible adult. Helping them to understand impulse purchases. If you do have them on your credit card and they're using it, and of course I'm talking about more older kids, not really younger kids, because if you give a 8-year-old your credit card, that doesn't make any sense. It's just going to be Fortnite charges. You might want to have your older kids understand, like, hey, this is the bill that we got, and this is your purchases. If it needs to be, like, if they're being irresponsible, then show them, hey, I know how much you make because, I'm your parent, and your job don't cover the purchases you're making on the monthly. So, helping them to control those impulse purchases can really help. And like I said in the last episode, being the type of parent to show, actually, I didn't say it last episode. I said it just a few minutes ago. Being the parent to show them that, hey, I'm not also doing this. I'm delaying gratification. I'm planning out things. Kind of helps install in them to do the same when it comes down to their credit card purchases. And then, of course, help them when, if they make a mistake. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, kids are gonna make a mistake, so that's why it's important if you do have them on your credit card as a authorized user to actually put it in a limit that, if it gets there, that you can actually help them out. If your child can only really realistically have a $200 credit card, maybe make it $150. That way, if they do make a mistake, like if a real emergency happened, like they're out with their friends and their car ran out of gas, and I don't know, they don't have cash on them. Basically, emergency happens and they need to use the card. That's not a financial mistake. That's a emergency. But it's something that, you can help them by being there for them. If that comes up, hey, don't worry, it was emergency, mistakes happen. I'm not saying the mistake is an emergency. I'm just separate those two. Emergencies, mistakes. Let's learn from them. Let me teach you, blah, blah, blah. And of course, if it was a deliberate mistake or a deliberate action, and it keeps occurring, then, hey, just like a bank, you lose access to these cards. So there's tons of ways to help teach your kids about credit cards. One of the best things that I do recommend is maybe once they get to an age where they can go on their own, like, hey, you do your own. You don't need to be an authorized user on my stuff anymore. I'm gonna still keep you there because I don't want to knock it off, but you don't have access to this card anymore. Give it back. Maybe help them consider options like a secure credit card, low limit cards and things like that to start with. That way, they can just, basically start to learn how to swim on their own without their parents and they're holding them up. Help them learn how to research cards and help them figure out what companies to go with, because not every credit card company is the same. Help them when they get the little packet in the mail with their card, read the interest rates. You probably don't have to read the entire pamphlet, but read enough to understand the consequences of, irresponsibility with said card. And have them every now and then get their credit report too. Stay on top of your credit report, and your credit report, not just for credit's sake, for credit's sake, but also making sure their identity is not being stolen. There's nothing on their credit report that's not theirs, so that helps them build that financial responsibility. So last episode I talked about how to make money, how to teach them to make money and how to be responsible with their money, and learning how to do their own taxes. This one, okay, now you know how to build credit, but let's stay on top of making sure my identity is protected. And, that's all in line with financial education. So understand that a lot of this information, it might be daunting at first. And of course, this is like a 15-20 minute podcast. So, it's not a lot of information that, you can't not teach. So it's not like, a whole study course, a 4-year grad school or whatever. It's very simple. Just if you're a responsible adult and you want to teach your kids to be responsible adults, these are some of the ways that you can teach them to be financially responsible. And we need more financially responsible adults in society. And, hopefully this can help someone and help their kids. And then when their kids grow up and have their own kids, and they can pass it down. And now you have not only generational wealth, but you have generational financial education. And I'm coining that. I don't think I've heard that one yet. Not only do you have generational wealth, but you have generational financial education. I like that. So that's it, guys, for another great episode. I appreciate you rocking with me, tuning in. I don't know what episode number this is, honestly, because technically this is supposed to be episode 30, but clearly it's not episode 30. So I appreciate it. Whatever week this is, I appreciate you tuning in. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a great weekend. I know that because these podcasts usually release on a Friday at 4:30 p.m. And if you like what you hear, please rate it, leave a comment, subscribe, or what have you. I appreciate all the love and support. And that's it. So you guys have a great one, and you stay WealthWise. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Simplicity Wealth and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Sub-advisory services are provided by Simplicity Solutions, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Any insurance, consulting, and education services offered through the WealthWise Show. The WealthWise Show is not affiliated with Simplicity Wealth and Simplicity Solutions.